Thank you very much, Sean. Merci beaucoup, Sean. I'm honored to be here today and in such great company. I'm also humbled. The work being done by you and the 500,000 plus individuals represented by the Canadian buildings and trade unions has never been more important or more visible. And thanks to the thousands of Canadian men and women from different trades supported by people gathered here today, the project I represent is among those highly notable construction projects underway in our country. LNG Canada is a large and complex undertaking and one of the largest energy investments in Canadian history. It's happening at a very important moment, given the important conversations and activities going on everywhere around the world focused on climate change, decarbonization, energy security, and access to clean and affordable energy. Now in its fourth year of construction, the LNG Canada project is more than 60% complete, stem to stern. It's been quite a journey. Before I speak more about that journey, where we've been, where we are today, and what our future holds, I'd like to present a brief video. I'm hoping it's going to work. I'm looking all back there at all the people with the laptops and over here, because I don't have a whole bunch of slides. I'd like to present a brief video that will really give you a strong visual impression of our beautiful site in Kitimat, BC, on the traditional territory of the Haisla Nation.
So 2021, some of the big milestones for us was completing the dredging program. We raised the roof on the LNG tank. We also commenced our heavy lift program, significant progress at the high voltage inlet area. And then also we moved the non-process buildings from zero to having buildings in place now.
One of the intermediate milestones that every project is celebrating is a roof raise. This is weeks of planning, months of planning, but this was planned to perfection.
I like building things. I like working with construction and craft workers, probably the best folks I've ever worked with in my career.
I've been really impressed with the mentorship side of things here. Even now that I'm a journeyman, I'm still learning from everybody around me. It's a great group of people that we've got over at the non-process buildings, and on those days where it's raining 100 mils, being outside isn't necessarily what excites me, but it's going out there and getting the work done with the people I'm fortunate to work with.
Last year was all about going vertical. And this year, it's like repeating that journey again. We are now building the tank inside the tank.
We lifted the main absorber, which is a column that is 54 meters long and weighs around 830 tons. And it's the biggest and heaviest equipment that we have.
What excites me every day is I get to do something unique. Sometimes I get to work with the SNT, sometimes I'm up on a crane, sometimes I'm 160 feet in the air on an AWP. It means the world to me to actually work in my backyard. It's going to carry with me for the rest of my life.
Right now we're working on the foundation of the trestle, so we're piling and adding the roadway, and we're also adding the foundation for where the pre-assembled pipe racks are going to be placed. We're at bent 18 right now of 72, so we have quite a bit to go, but it's exciting.
The heavy transport vessels are now starting to come to site and deliver the LNG modules. It's the culmination of a lot of work.
To deliver a project of this size and vision is a big thing. Yeah, one of the things I love about this industry is the people. It's an absolute pleasure to be working with people who are right at the top of the game.
The size of this project is like nothing else that's happening just now. We had to work with biologists and hydrologists, environmental professionals. So for me, it was a tremendous broadening to get exposure to other areas.
No one entity can be successful by themselves. The collaboration amongst the teams is what really excites me. You know, we have apprenticeships, we have young people, women. It's all about that diversity. We're calling our journey Everyone's Everest. At the end of this early works phase, where are we on the Everest mountain? I think we got to base camp. We've got our backpacks ready. We've walked that first part of the journey, but now we got the steep ascent through 2022 and 2023. It's a significant challenge, and I think we're ready to climb.
So right now, we have over 5,000 skilled tradespeople and craft workers employed building the project safely. So yes, it's a significant challenge. We've proven together that we're up for it, and that together, we're stronger. I joined LNG Canada just over a year ago and became part of a team that's committed to building a safe and sustainable facility, strong community relationships, and a globally competitive business. I'm genuinely excited and proud to be a part of a movement to provide local benefits, meet human needs, and deliver the lowest carbon intensity LNG, or liquefied natural gas, possible as a preferred energy source. As LNG Canada's VP for Asset, I'm looking forward to the thousands of cargoes that will follow over the facility's 40-year lifespan and future growth. My team is currently focused on attracting the operational workforce needed to compete in the global LNG market. We're looking at generational opportunities that LNG Canada careers will provide and the good that will be achieved in a strongly inclusive, diverse, and accessible workplace. There's been a lot of talk lately about LNG. Much of the conversation in the last few months has been about the context of energy security and the terrible events taking place in Ukraine. For me, and I'm sure many of you in this room, the connection to that country runs deep. I'm the grandson of a Ukrainian immigrant who came to Canada at 9 years old with a family seeking opportunity, who returned to Europe as a young man to defend the freedoms that were being threatened, and who raised a family that embraced education as a path to generational opportunity, from farmers to tradespeople to entrepreneurs to professionals. With roots, friends, colleagues, and being a veteran myself, I look to a time when the suffering stops. The tragic situation unfolding in Ukraine touches all of us in one way or another. As we've seen in the past weeks, energy and reliable energy supply is sometimes used as a bargaining chip, as a means of coercion and control. Naturally, people look across the free world for other sources, other molecules, which is one reason why LNG generally is in the news so much lately. Politics aside, people want cleaner, lower carbon energy as we continue to set new emission targets and transition towards a net zero world. People want to be sure the energy they consume is part of the solution to this energy transition. LNG has a role to play now and into the future. It's clear that the future population growth and development around the world will require more energy with fewer CO2 emissions. Demand for LNG specifically is growing in countries like China, where natural gas use is expected to almost triple by 2040. LNG from all sources, including ours, will make up over 60% of China's demand for imported natural gas. Our LNG will provide security of supply for global markets that can rely on Canada's natural gas reserves to advance their economies, to reduce the global GHG emissions, as natural gas replaces higher emitting sources such as coal. It will have the lowest carbon intensity of any large-scale LNG liquefaction plant in the world. This is a result of LNG Canada's decision to supply 20% of our electricity from BC Hydro. With our engineering, procurement, and construction contractor, JGC Fluor, we've designed a project with the lowest carbon intensity of any large-scale LNG facility operating in the world, 35% lower than in CO2 emissions than the world's best-performing facilities, and 60% lower than the world-weighted average. This is important in the context of commitments Canada has made to reduce GHGs, and important as we help international trading partners meet their climate change challenges. LNG Canada and its 5 joint venture partners are global leaders in the energy transition, demonstrating significant improvements in both production and liquefaction performance. We believe our LNG will play a key role in the global decarbonization movement. On my team, we talk about helping the world breathe. I'm not suggesting LNG will replace other, more carbon-intensive forms of energy all on its own. LNG is one tool in a low-carbon toolkit, one that obviously includes renewables and nuclear. There's another piece to consider: the vast numbers of people living across the globe without essentials that other people take for granted, affordable, accessible, and reliable energy needed to move, cook, stay warm, or cool. It's about what some people refer to as energy poverty. LNG will help provide that energy, enabling more people to have a bigger and brighter future. What I'm saying is that LNG from Canada will deliver an abundance of good energy. Adding to that, we're building strong, lasting relationships that are helping advance meaningful, positive change here at home. This includes our engagement with Indigenous communities. Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission made clear that true reconciliation includes economic reconciliation, access to jobs, training and education, and ensuring that Indigenous communities acquire sustainable, long-term benefits from economic development projects like ours. We're proud to be part of that effort. Working closely with nations and Indigenous communities and building strong ties and relationships has allowed LNG Canada the opportunity to participate in economic reconciliation and to be known as an organization that wants to participate by taking meaningful actions. This is a privilege that we do our best to honor by engaging directly with nations and Indigenous communities, understanding and respecting our agreements with nations and meeting commitments that we have made, fostering a learning culture and raising awareness about Indigenous issues and history, and recognizing past wrongs. These efforts started well before we started building the LNG Canada project in 2018. We're immensely grateful to have the support of the 5 First Nations nearest to our Kitimat facility and future operations, and the 20 nations along the Coastal GasLink pipeline. The pipeline, also nearing completion, employs thousands of Canadian tradespeople. I know that for many of us, engaging with Indigenous leaders such as Crystal Smith, Chief Councillor of the Haisla Nation, has been transformative. The Haisla are our most important and influential stakeholder. And while Chief Smith is a strong LNG advocate, she of course puts her people and their land first. I want to quote from an article that Chief Smith wrote last month, published in newspapers across Canada. She recalled how industry used to operate in her territory. It wasn't good. So when natural gas proponents, including LNG Canada, showed up with proposals to build facilities in her territory, the Haisla were cautious and skeptical, she recalled. It was only after years of review and engagement that the Haisla determined natural gas was safe for their environment and that benefits would actually flow to their people. The product, LNG, is only part of the deal, Chief Smith explained in her article. Quoting again from her article, she wrote that, "We have negotiated agreements which have built the Haisla's capacity to employ our people, to rediscover our language, and to reconnect with our traditional ways. When you work with First Nations," she added, "you fail if you don't take the time to build a proper relationship. We believe our relationships also rely on encouraging Indigenous-led LNG projects and new voices and leadership. Cedar LNG is a proposed LNG facility that would operate close to ours in Kitimat. The Haisla Nation has a direct stake of ownership in Cedar LNG, and Haisla women have leading roles in the proposed development. This is very encouraging." Putting words into action, LNG Canada and its subcontractors and contractors have awarded over $3.6 billion in contracts and procurement to businesses in BC. Of that amount, more than $2.8 billion have been awarded to First Nations-owned businesses and local businesses. We're grateful to see increasing awareness of our project's contributions to the local and provincial economies. Economists have described LNG Canada's project as a key driver behind BC's post-pandemic recovery and a significant contributor to GDP. I'd also like to point out their investments in workforce development programs. Meaningful training and development programs designed to increase participation of local residents, Indigenous communities, and British Columbians in trade and construction-related activities that include, but are not limited to, the LNG Canada project. We know that apprenticeship completion is critical to maintaining a strong supply of skilled tradespeople that are needed to keep our local businesses on track, competitive, and thriving. This is especially true of projects currently under development in Canada's emerging LNG business. To that end, we've invested more than $4 million in workforce development programs, including tuition-free training to help women start and succeed in skilled trades, with direct opportunities for employment with our prime contractor and subcontractors. So that, in about 15 minutes, is what we're doing, where we're going, and how. It's an exciting time for us and for the LNG sector. I just want to end by thanking you and your colleagues across Canada for showing up and giving your best at work sites and projects of every shape and size, and for demonstrating your care and commitment to each other, to communities, to safety, to excellence, and for making things happen every single day. Merci, et à la prochaine.